Christmas specials are a childhood memory that most people look back on fondly. Whether you love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or the Santa Claus, it's fun to revisit your favorite movies around the holidays. In the early days of Power Rangers, Saban really hit the Christmas specials hard, with cheesy episode names like I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. These are typically fun little episodes they threw in just with the holidays, and to sell a few VHSs. But whether it's sloppy writing or just luck of the draw, almost every Christmas episode has major details that affect the Power Rangers in a big way. So today we're going to look at one of these specials. Hi guys, my name's Casey. I love Power Rangers and I love talking about it with people, and this channel has been amazing. To be honest, I don't talk about Power Rangers with a lot of people day to day, so this is like amazing to get to talk to you guys about it. I really appreciate it. And it's just so much fun. So I want to say thank you to all of you who are already subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, it'll change your life. It's pretty crazy how so many people watch these videos, but yet they aren't subscribed. Here's a chart. Here's another chart. Here's a chart. See, all that evidence shows you that you need to subscribe. What are you waiting for? Just do it, man. Today we are talking about Alpha's Magical Christmas. This was never seen on TV because it was a straight to VHS special. It's surprising it didn't air as an episode because the prop department definitely took a lot of time on this one. Haim Saban's wife Cheryl was actually the one who really pushed for this project. She believed that pushing the limits of the Power Ranger universe was needed. She believed this should be done through bringing the side characters into more predominant roles. There was also a VHS in 1995 of Bulk and Skull called The Good, the Bad, and the Stupid. This was a clip episode where Bulk and Skull were trapped in a cave and think about all the best moments. Lieutenant Stone saves them in the end. This was to test the market and see if they could carry a show on their own. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. They didn't sell very well. Much like Alpha's Magical Christmas, it didn't hold up to Haim Saban's standards for one pretty simple reason. There was no merchandise available when this episode came out. Alpha didn't get a standalone action figure till 2010 when Disney revamped the first season of Power Rangers. So the VHS sales were okay, but there was no surge in toy sales due to it. Bulk and Skull didn't have toys either, so I believe Cheryl's idea to do this Christmas special wasn't the problem. It was the fact that it was doomed to fail because it wasn't able to produce the profits Saban Entertainment was looking for. The success of R2-D2 in Star Wars shows that a robot can be a beloved character. Toys of Alpha could have some pretty awesome light-up features or plug into your VHS player and have an arcade Atari-style video game. Power Rangers and video games are kind of a pet peeve of mine. Maybe I could do a video on that at another time. The director of the special was Jon Stewart. Not that Jon Stewart. No, this Jon Stewart. Yeah. You know the classic 2007 movie based on his life as a Hollywood stuntman starring Jason David Frank and was also written and produced by Jon Stewart himself.
Where the heck is my leg?
Yeah. But to be fair, Jon was put in a rough position for this special. Let me explain. Jon directed 14 episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in total. Looking at the air dates of these episodes, it seems like he was brought in for 4 separate stints of time, the first time being towards the end of Season 1. Out of the 60 episode season, he directed episodes 51, 52, and 53, which aired April 28th, 29th, and May 2nd of 1994. The next 3 stints of directing were in Season 2, starting early in the season with episode 4, 5, 6, and 7, airing September 13th, 14th, 17th, and 19th of 1994. Terrence directed 38 episodes for Power Rangers in total, and he did the next 4 episodes until Jon returned for the 3rd out of 4 stints, for episodes 12, 13, 14, and 16, which aired September 27th, 28th, October 3rd, and 10th. His very last and final directing stint on Power Rangers was with episodes 34, 35, and 36. These aired on November 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. This last grouping is the only time he filmed when Tommy was a White Ranger. The Alpha special came out October 19th, and the White Ranger was introduced on October 18th, literally the day before. Knowing how long something like this can take to edit, I would say it had to have been filmed during John's first or second stint. My guess is by the third stint, these were needing to be produced and prepared for distribution. The fourth time he directed, the VHSs were already released. When Austin, Walter, and Thuy left the show between Opposites Attract and Zed's Monster Mash aired on October 28th. They probably freaked that they couldn't use the special anymore and pulled an audible. Now there are two uncredited directors for the special. One is David Blythe. He directed 4 episodes in the first season, very close to the start of the show. I'm assuming he is credited possibly because some of the clips are from episodes he directed. It's hard to tell because David filmed some episodes for a TV show called White Fang, which aired in France. That was after he left Power Rangers, and there isn't any information online about specific air dates for it. Just that they were in 1994. So I don't know if he was overseas doing film work at this time or not, and I can't find any connection to Power Rangers after the episodes he did, which were done in October of 1993. So almost 6 months before Jon Stewart got on set. But the other uncredited director, and I believe the savior of the special, was John Blizek. John Blizek, not Jon Stewart. You know what? I'm just going to call him JB. JB was the editor for all 60 episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1. After the season ended, he moved to a different project where he started directing some episodes of a little show called VR Troopers. This is all a guessing game, but the last episode Austin, Walter, and Thuy were on was aired October 25th. Around this time, VR Troopers aired the episodes The Disappearance and Nightmares, which were both being directed by JB. Again, I'm just guessing, but it seems like when the others left the show, the producers went to the VR Trooper lot to visit Mighty Morphin Power Rangers' old editor and asked if he could direct a quick scene with Jason David Frank, Amy Jo Johnson, and David Yost. The special does show montage scenes with Zach, Trini, and Jason. Zordon states that they are at the Peace Conference. Tommy, Kimberly, and Billy appear in person. Tommy, of course, is in green just like the previous film's scene with the Rangers, but Rocky, Adam, and Aisha appear on the viewing globe to say hello. They are dressed in the same outfits as their very first episode of Power Rangers, Ninja Encounter. So it's safe to say their first day on set, they said, "We gotta save this Christmas special before it's too late." Told them to wave and say hello, and cut print. The Ninja Encounter aired November 2nd, 1994. VR Troopers aired their episode Secret Admirer on November 3rd, also directed by JB. So it's also possible that JB once again popped over and filmed them on their first day on set. I would really love to get to hear what really happened. I think it's interesting that this Christmas special brought on a lot of anxiety. I'm sure for Cheryl Saban, who was the one pushing for it, it was a nightmare when everything went to hell. Depending on when the special was being brought up and when all the contract disputes were happening, would like to kind of know if this was a rebuttal to the demands that Walter, Austin, and Thuy had. Like, oh, you guys think you can make a demand? Well, we'll just make a special that doesn't center around the Power Rangers at all. Or maybe a nicer way to put it was that the character can change suit actors and voice actors, and it's still alpha, and they still can keep that character going. So maybe they just thought, maybe we should focus a special on them so we never lose that character. But who really knows? The craziest part of this special was that the video was released on October 19th. The characters Jason, Zach, and Trini didn't leave the show till November 9th, on part 2 of the Power Transfer episode. Could you imagine a parent seeing this in the store a few days after it came out, buying it and taking it home to their Power Ranger-obsessed child, and the cover has the original team with the Green Ranger on it, but you just saw the White Ranger that week, then you get 3 strangers you've never seen on the show at all saying, "Hello everyone, we're the Power Rangers." Zordon says Jason, Trini, and Zach are at the Peace Conference, which hasn't even been talked about yet, and the montages show Green and White Ranger footage, but Tommy is in the Green Ranger suit. What a roller coaster of an experience that would have been to see it right when it came out. If any of you had this experience, please comment below. This is so crazy. I have to hear what went through your head when you watched it for the first time. Even though this was kind of a production mess, Richard Stephen Horvitz, who voiced Alpha 5, did get an Alpha-centered episode, which was a first for any side character in Power Rangers, and still to this day it's one of the few. For whatever reason, Richard was credited as Richard Wood throughout Power Rangers, except for 2 occasions. The first was this special. Richard eventually left the show but did return for the anniversary episode, Forever Red, voicing Alpha 7. This was his final episode ever with Power Rangers, and it's kind of poetic that they used his real name for it. The in-suit actor for Alpha was Rami J. Sharf. The production secretary for the special was Zanine Kistler, who down the road took over the reins as Alpha in Season 3, the entire Zeo season, the Turbo movie, and the 3-part premiere of Power Rangers Turbo, entitled Shift into Turbo. It's kind of cool she was involved in a very special Alpha-themed episode before she took it over. The premise is that Alpha is lonely and wants to see the Rangers for Christmas, but the Rangers are unable to be there. Zordon reveals that the Rangers are busy helping Santa get all the presents ready. This confirms that Santa Claus is real in the Saban live-action universe. The one thing this special really does is show some character development for Alpha 5, showing his fears of being forgotten, alone, or just not being included by his friends. It's probably because of all of Alpha's Christian guilt. Okay, so this special is the only time in Power Ranger history that mentions Jesus or God in any way. Now, it's not a full-fledged Charlie Brown Christmas special, but it references Christian beliefs by the song lyrics. But it's noted that Alpha does sing both of the Christian Christmas carols, which are Here We Come A-Caroling and Silent Night. As a Christian myself, I don't look into this as a major statement of any kind. Chaim Saban was a professional musician who recorded tons of theme songs back in the day. He would definitely know to pick songs from the public domain. If you're not familiar with this, the songs that exceed a certain amount of time or are just old enough to lose copyrights are put in the public domain. That means you don't have to pay royalties to use them. If an artist were to play a current Christmas song like All I Want for Christmas Is You, you'd be flagged with tons of copyright laws and have to pay to use it. Considering Christian Christmas carols have been around for hundreds of years, Chaim could use them without having to lose any money on royalties. The other reason not to look into it is that Chaim is Jewish. Zordon abducts kids from all over the world to come to the command center and sing Christmas carols with Alpha. The kids do seem happy to be there, being overcome with the Christmas spirit, but I believe this is the first time the show breaks the cardinal rule, which is you cannot enter the command center without a power coin. The show breaks this rule a lot, though. Rocky, Aisha, Adam, and Kat all get teleported into the command center before becoming Rangers. So it must mean you can't enter on your own without one, but can through the teleportation system beaconed by the command center. The other thing that occurs is that Alpha straight up is using magic. He is shooting this beam out of his arms and creating large Christmas decorations. This power is explained by Alpha as tapping into the morphing grid. So this is actually the very first sighting in Ranger history of magic being accessed through the morphing grid. Before you jump and say this special isn't canon, so it doesn't count, we do see Alpha do this in the show. On the episode The Wedding, Alpha creates clothing and flowers with the same morphing grid accessed magic. If you are like me and agree that Saban's 1998 show Mystic Knights of Tir Nog is in the same universe, it's arguable that their magic is accessed through the morphing grid as well. And if you want to know more about how they could have been in the same universe, check out my fan theory video on it. But nonetheless, Alpha's Magical Christmas was the first to show that someone tapping into the morphing grid can use magic. So this would be the first evidence of the Mystic Force Rangers being a possibility. Now this also raises a question: if magic can be accessed through the morphing grid, is the magic that Rita Repulsa using also used through the morphing grid? This could further the theory by some people that she was the original Green Ranger, and it would make sense when she became the Mystic Mother that she has some sort of quality or connection to the morphing grid, which means that the morphing grid has a yin-yang sort of element to it, that there is dark and light all together to make it balanced. Alpha takes the children to an open door with light and fog, presuming that they are being taken home. The special ends with the Rangers and Alpha breaking the fourth wall and wishing the viewer a Merry Christmas. Now, Alpha 5 is a bit of a mystery in Power Rangers history. He completely disappears after Zordon and himself witness the Turbo Rangers passing the torch. Zordon, of course, was captured by someone in the Evil Alliance, but not sure who caught him. We only know that Divatox is in charge of watching him. There was never mention of what happened to Alpha 5. It's probably safe to say he was destroyed, because we never see him again in the show. In Operation Overdrive's episode, Once a Ranger, Adam retrieves Alpha 6 to help repair the morphing grid. That was the last sighting of an Alpha in the show to my knowledge. Now, in a few videos, I've talked about the fan theory that Zordon is evil. I'm going to do a video strictly for that subject because people are asking questions on one video that was covered on the other video and vice versa. But a few people in the comments have theorized that Alpha 5 was actually the evil one because of his strange absence, stating that Zordon was not evil, but indeed it was Alpha who wanted to rule the world. Honestly, this evil Alpha theory I approached as kind of a joke at first. But then some things really started to make sense. So there are multiple times where Alpha is infected with the virus. A good example is the episode The Wedding Part 1 and 2. He coincidentally uses magic accessed through the morphing grid as well during this episode. During this virus, Alpha turns on Zordon and starts to mock him. He lures the Rangers into a trap, but in the end, Billy of course fixes him. In the Justice League and Power Rangers crossover comic, Alpha is infected with Brainiac, a villain from the DC world. The virus is never destroyed from Alpha's system. I believe this is a melding of Alpha's personality and Brainiac's. He is waiting and learning to see if he can escape this body. But when Zordon wishes to go to Eltar, this is when Alpha, or the new Brainiac virus, really works its magic. After the Rangers turn their powers over to the new Turbo and Future Space Team, Alpha turns Zordon into the Machine Empire. The Evil Alliance takes Zordon and puts him in the hands of Divatox. Alpha is furious with King Mondo. He believes that robots should rule the galaxies, but Mondo takes orders from Dark Spectre. Alpha, in a very Thanos-like fashion, believes that they should just wipe out both the Rangers and the Evil Alliance, to start over with a clean slate so machines can rule the universe. This anger towards Mondo's leadership is shared with one of the Machine Empire's generals and son of the king, Prince Gasket. Alpha, having a vast knowledge of Zordon's power, would know exactly how to protect himself from the energy wave. When the battle across the universe takes place in Countdown to Destruction, Alpha, Prince Gasket, and Archerina go to Onyx. Alpha designs a protection shield that protects this planet of criminals from Zordon's energy wave. This would explain why Onyx in Lost Galaxy has evil monsters and henchmen walking around. After the energy wave, they look to find a way to rebuild. Meeting with arms dealers and other criminals, Alpha eventually puts himself into a more tactical body, this being the body of former Shadowborg. Now, being in a new body and his code equally being morphed from both his original Alpha programming and Brainiac's, he takes on the new name of General Vengex. They spend several years trying to manufacture cogs to make a new army, but they are missing something. Alpha 5's programming knows that Lord Zedd's old battle Zord, Serpentera, is stored on the moon. So they set out to obtain this powerful weapon. Of course, they are stopped by the task force of Red Rangers. General Vengex is blown up by a flying motorcycle, which makes sense, I guess. His remains are mangled out in orbit, till a team of explorers funded by Mr. Hartford picks up the wreckage. Mr. Hartford donates the remains to what he believes to be an educational facility. This facility houses the most brilliant-minded children in the world. When a young girl is messing with this technology, she comes across a mangled code. She uses this code to make a computer program. She shortens the base code from its original name down to Vengex. This intelligent software also understands the desire to go outside. Eventually, it tells the young girl to let it help her shut down the security system so she can go outside. Just like Alpha wanted to go outside in The Wedding and the episode The Wannabe Ranger, which was also directed by Jon Stewart. After unleashing Project Vengex, Alpha, now called Vengex, takes over the world, eventually succeeding in its objective to rule over humans, except for one city. Which means Alpha is the most successful villain in Ranger history. Even comes back in Power Rangers Beast Morphers, taking advantage of a young child genius once again. Okay, listen. Don't forget that these videos are for entertainment. I'm not claiming that this is true or canon. People in the comments have theorized about this, so I just decided to go with it. That's the rules of comedy, ladies and gentlemen. It's yes and, not no. But in all seriousness, we have no idea what happened to Alpha 5. It would be sad if he met his end at this point, but maybe the remains of him floating through galaxies could be discovered by a team of Rangers never seen on Earth. That went from Merry Christmas to a very sad ending. Well, Merry Christmas, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe if you did. Thank you so much for all your support. I really am so grateful and blessed. People seem to be liking it. It's making it kind of addicting, so I'm really enjoying it. So thank you, and I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season. See you later.